Hey, are you ready for the day? I hope you are. Even if you're not, though, we could all use a little bit of a boost every day of our lives, couldn't we? We could use a little encouragement, use some help in getting our mindset right, and that is what the Morning Mindset is all about. It is here for you to hear some of God's Word spoken to you, perhaps from a perspective that is a bit different from your own, and will help you to get outside your normal way of thinking in order to think differently about yourself, about God, and about the world that you live in. And then combining all those things, your role in the world. We've been looking at Romans 6, 7, and 8, and we just moved into chapter 8. It's a chapter that tells us some amazing truths that are true of us. True of us, okay? So when you think about yourself, what do you think of? That's really the question. And chapter 8 here is going to tell us some of how we should think about ourselves based on what God says is true. Now think about the conversations that you have and the interactions you have with the people around you every day. There's often times where you hear someone say something and you know that what they're saying is not true. You know, from their perspective, it seems to be true. But the thing that they're saying actually isn't reality compared to what you know. Maybe you have more information than they do about a situation or more experience. And so you're able to say that is not true to yourself. You may not say it to the person, but you know in your own heart. And there's a confidence that comes with knowing that truth. Well, in this passage, put yourself in that person's position and consider that you often have ideas, you have thoughts about yourself that are untrue. I'm just giving a few seconds here for that to sink in. We often have thoughts about ourselves that are not true. I heard someone say just this past week, don't always believe everything you think. Isn't that a good thing to hear? I mean, we tend to believe what we think, especially when it's about ourselves, because we see our shortcomings and we see our failures, and we tend to major on those rather than being able to objectively see the good that God is doing in us. And this passage, chapter 8, begins to reveal to us things that God, the one who has all knowledge, who has all wisdom, and more than that, who has done things for us to make us a certain kind of individual, he is telling us in this passage what is true of us. In chapter 8, he begins by saying, there is therefore now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. And we unpacked this a bit in the last episode, but I want to go a little deeper and think about why would there normally be any kind of struggle with a sense of condemnation. Well, it's because we struggle in life, don't we? We have this back and forth that Paul described in chapter 7 of the good that I want to do, I don't do, and the evil I hate, that's what I wind up doing. We all have experienced that. And that struggle in itself can cause you to feel condemnation. It can cause you to condemn yourself. And more than that, our enemy, the devil, will come along and he will try to condemn us as well. But God is telling us here that when you place your faith in Jesus Christ, from that day on, there is no condemnation for you. From God or from yourself or from the devil. It does not have to affect you. And that's one of those things we have to understand about ourselves. We are now a new kind of creature. Because if you remember in chapter 7, the sinful desires and the sinful urges come from this power called sin that is outside of us. It's attached to this mortal body. It's not us. It's not our identity. So it's no longer true to say we have a sinful nature. What's happening is that this power outside of us is pushing us toward old habits of behavior and thinking and feeling. And it feels like we should be condemned for the things we're thinking or doing. But in fact, that's not us that's doing it. It's the power of sin. And so we need to believe this to be true. And so as you begin your day today, I want to encourage you, there is no condemnation for you. So anytime today that you feel condemned, push it away and say, no, because of Christ, I am not condemned. Let's unpack this some more tomorrow on The Morning Mindset.